Hello, everyone. I am so excited to have this wonderful, wonderful gentleman, Leif Cocks, with me. I don't think he needs much of an introduction, but I'll just give you a little bit feedback. He's the founder of the Orangutan Project, founder of Wildlife Conservation International, of International Elephant Project, and International Tiger Project. I don't know how you do it. You're amazing. Thank you for being here with us. And there's so much that, we all want to know about you and your work, but most important is the work. Leif, one thing I was reading all the work that you do, and one thing that I really like is your holistic approach towards all the conservation. And I would like you to start with introducing how and what you do.
I started in 1998 the Orangutan Project just to save the orangutan species from extinction before it's too late, but also work for the welfare of the orangutans. As we always say, or as I say, is orangutans may be the center of our love, but not the boundary of it. And so what we're trying to do is create a world that's better for everybody. Saving the rainforest is one of the most effective ways we can mitigate climate change. It's one of the best ways we can secure the economic future of indigenous communities and also the country of Indonesia. And so there's all these win-win situations. And I started the International Elephant, International Tiger Project because there were two species was falling out of the umbrella of orangutan conservation. That is, normally if you're saving a charismatic megafauna such as orangutans, all the other species can come along for a free ride under the umbrella of conservation. But we found that the elephants and tigers were falling outside of that umbrella. So we started those projects to bring their conservation included in a holistic plan to save complete functioning ecosystems of the right type, shape, and size of rainforest to help orangutans and tigers and elephants, but also we're working with the indigenous communities for them to prosper, education, feeding their children, and developing agricultural systems under rainforest canopy so they can prosperous and healthy lives at the same time as conserving nature.
One thing that really alarmed me is this thing about we've got 10 years. Can you please elaborate on that? Because this is what brought the urgency upon us.
Yeah, I mean, climate scientists are telling us we've got 10 years to take urgent action to save the planet. Otherwise, the ecosystems will start collapsing on themselves and we have irreversible climate change. And for the same reasons, we've got 10 years to save orangutans. And these things are actually intricately connected because destroying the environment and the rainforest is one of the major drivers of climate change. But similarly, what we're saying is not that in 10 years there won't be any orangutans or there's not going to be any rainforest, but the orangutan populations will be so small and fragmented, they'll eventually go extinct. The rainforest will be so small and fragmented that it can't no longer sustain itself and it will collapse in on itself. And so it's about our last opportunity in this decade, the most important decade of all human history, to have these last viable ecosystems saved, rescued, and restored to become biological arcs to pass on to future generations, start rewilding the planet to the level it needs to, which is about 30%, but also developing the economic systems in that rainforest environment that will be models of how we can live in harmony with the environment as well as prosper.
Right. And, the other thing is, so can you explain a little bit about this deforestation that is going on, what we can do, this whole, the palm oil, and also very important, the poaching.
What's happening is large multinationals, rich people are destroying the forest for the value of the trees and then replacing the forest with whatever unsustainable monoculture gives them the maximum profit at the time. And all monocultures, such as palm oil, pulp paper, or rubber, are all unsustainable. That's how all monocultures work. They basically destroy the ecosystem which supports them. So it's all about short-term gain and greed. They're only economically viable because they pass the true cost of production onto the powerless, orangutans, indigenous communities, and future generations. And so it's just a expansion of greed and exploitation rather than good economics. And so, but unfortunately, trying to address it through palm oil movements is not going to be effective, because the people destroying the forest, as well again, simply the value of the trees, have other options in palm oil to replace the forest, which are also economically viable for them. So we must address holistically each of these ecosystems before it's too late. And this one size fits all about having palm oil campaigns have not been and are unlikely to produce any genuine results.
Right. And the other thing, I was also sort of reading a bit more about the orangutans and their low birth rate. Can you explain that? Because that I found also very interesting.
Yeah, no, it's a very and it's interesting on a couple of levels. One is the slowest reproducing species in the world. And for example, the smartron species has their first baby at 15, and there's 9 years between infants. Now, low birth rate is one of the primary indicators of vulnerability to extinction. And orangutans being the most slowest reproducing means they're extremely vulnerable. So much so, if you only kill 1% of the females in a viable population every year, the population spirals to extinction fairly quickly because they can't recover from any level of poaching. Now, the reason why they're so low in reproduction in rate is because, like humans, they're predominantly adapted to the environment, not by natural selection anymore, but by culture. So instead of being born with instinct and have lots of offspring who are born with instinct and go out and nature selects which ones are most genetically suitable to the changing environment, they are born with vacant brains, have long maternal periods of training and education, and they then program their offspring of how to survive through culture from generation to generation. And the reason this is also connected to the fact that they're the most intelligent species that share our planet. And that's why they adapt to the environment primarily just the way human populations do. And this doubles the tragedy that we're not only destroying a species, we're destroying persons, sentient, intelligent persons, as I said, the most intelligent being that shares our planet, in the most horrific ways that we can imagine. So it's a double tragedy for the orangutans.
How far have you reached with this project, Leif? What are you happy about with this project, and what are you unhappy about where we, the viewers, can do something to help not only this project, but all of us, on the whole, what can we do?
The good news is we've achieved a lot over 20 years. So hundreds of orangutans have been rescued, are safe, and can live free in the wild because of the generosity of our donors. Also, tens of thousands of hectares of prime rainforest orangutan habitat is being protected by our wildlife protection unit, again, thanks to our generosity of our donors. The biggest problem, unfortunately, is we've got 10 years to turn this around, and we don't have all the funds that we need to save 8 ecosystems of right type, shape, and size, and for us to take all the different species and subspecies of orangutan through this extinction crisis. So it's not only a race on the ground to save these ecosystems, we need the money in order to achieve that aim, and since fundraising, connecting with people, to have enough people who genuinely care about orangutans, the environment, and future generations to make that difference in time. And that's our biggest challenge.
I read this. It was something so beautiful on I think one of your pages on your website. It says all the species that share the rainforest have a part to play in the health of the ecosystem. But the orangutans are sometimes referred to as the gardeners of the forest due to their special role. They eat hundreds of different types of fruit and spread the seeds throughout the forest in their dung, helping young plants to thrive and grow. So this was very endearing to me, and I mean the apparently you also do ecotouring.
Yes, yeah.
Can you tell us a little about the ecotouring?
I mean, one of the problems we have is mass unsustainable ecotourism can cause more problems than it creates by destroying the environment, and possibly with orangutans who share 97% of genetic material with us, pass on diseases to naive populations. So we started up ethical ecotourism with our partner Orangutan Odysseys. And one of the great things, about 6 times a year, I take donors into the rainforest and connect them with the orangutans and the people, and they have a a wonderful, meaningful experience. But they also get to see firsthand how their gifts of money are actually making genuine difference on the ground, which is very rewarding. I feel for a lot of them who come back.
Absolutely. Leif, I know, Leif, that I know you're really busy. I am going to share your website, everyone, the website, how to donate, how to make a difference. We all can in our little way. And I think this is so important. What you're doing is amazing. And I thank you so much for your time. I know you have a very hectic schedule, but thank you for this time. It means a lot, and we can all make a difference, one at a time.
Yeah. Thank you, Nita. Much appreciated.
Here. Bye-bye.
Bye.